Hey Knicks fans, we have a special episode planned for you guys. We get into Mikal Bridges, Karl Anthony Towns going back to Minnesota, bench targets, trade rumors. Let's get into it.
Let's run that intro.
They're playing basketball. Basketball.
You're listening to the Knicks Nation podcast, where we've got all your Knicks needs covered.
Puts up a three. Bang! Bang! He ties the game!
Now, live from the city that never sleeps, here are your hosts, Anthony and Chris.
Knicks Nation, what's going on? Happy holidays, everyone. Thanks for joining us for another Knicks Nation podcast episode. 9 more episodes to 100, Chris. Podcast episode 91.
Crazy.
It's crazy, man. Huge accomplishment for us. We promise to bring you a special guest soon. But in the meantime, if you're on Apple and Spotify, please hit that follow button. Give us a rating if you kindly were to do so. Chris, Knicks have had some days off to get refreshed, get their body right, get some practice time in because of the NBA Cup. Blessing in disguise. You get 3 days prior to the Orlando game. Now you have another 3 days off prior to the Minnesota game. How are we already a quarter of the season in? That's crazy. What's going on, Chris?
I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. NBA Cup didn't go our way for obvious reasons. I don't even want to talk about it, but it is what it is. But like you said, blessing in disguise. Knicks are getting some rest in between games here with Orlando and Minnesota coming up. So, all in all, especially after that showing against the Orlando Magic, I'm feeling pretty good. How you doing, Ant?
Doing great. Happy to be talking New York Knicks, as always. Like we said, we're going to start off with none other than Mikal Bridges. Chris, Mikal Bridges has played extremely well in the month of December for this New York Knicks team. And defensively, versus the Orlando Magic especially, he picked up, defensively as well. He played well. So, Chris, Mikal Bridges has played well, and I think we should start with him because he's been getting the slings and arrows. And, look, we traded a lot for him, but he's playing well in the month of December. So we wanted to shine some light on him, got some stats regarding him as well that we'll touch on in a bit. But, Chris, Mikal Bridges, is he back? Is he back? Is he back?
I almost don't even want to answer that just because I don't want to jinx it, but man, he looked good versus Orlando, and I'm not just talking offensively, defensively as well. Look, I think personally, that was the best Mikal Bridges game to date on both sides of the floor. And you saw it. He was active. He was moving out there a lot better on defense. Jalen Suggs was at 1.3 for 14 or something like that? Something crazy.
Yep.
Jalen Suggs could not do anything with Mikal Bridges on him. And look, that's the Mikal Bridges I want to see on the defensive side of the ball every single time the Knicks hit the floor. That's what I thought we were getting.
Likewise, and Mikal Bridges in the month of December, 21 points per game, 3.1 assists, 42% from three, 56% from the field, plus 94 leads the entire NBA in the plus-minus stat, plus 94, 67% true shooting percentage, and he also played his 500th game, 500 career game in that Orlando game as well. Yeah, defensively, Chris, I thought it was his best all-around game defensively, and offensively for this Knicks team. And boy, look, this is all we wanted to see from Mikal, right? I mean, we knew it was coming. Like, we knew the version of Mikal that we were getting in late October, early November, even majority part of November wasn't the Mikal Bridges. Still adjusting. The guys have been getting his back and through the media and whatnot. But these numbers show. Look, even the defensive numbers have drastically improved with Mikal Bridges on the court. And look, he's playing awesome in the month of December. And can he? The thing is, can he be better? Yeah, he can be better. I have a stat here. He's shooting 46% from corner three this season. That matches his career high. And he is a career 33% above the break three-point shooter. He is currently at 24%. So that number, you would expect it to regress. So that number will get better. So 46% corner three-point shooter, Chris, this year matches his career high. And from the corner, he's automatic, it seems like.
Yeah. And look, I like it. I like the way Mikal Bridges has been trending. Again, I sound like a broken record, but defensively, I think that's the key. And most importantly, he's doing it out there with OG Anunoby, which in the past we've given some stats of some of the best defensive lineups, and what you saw was a trend going on where OG Anunoby was being separated from Mikal Bridges in those best defensive lineups. So, look, if this is a preview of things to come, well, I'll just say this: I hope this is a preview of things to come, because Mikal Bridges playing like this defensively, and we all know what OG can provide on a day in, day out basis. That makes this team that much more dangerous and brings us closer, I say, to what we had the prior season.
Exactly. And the thing I love about Mikal is he's a kind of like a low-key crap talker to the opponent. Like he kind of gets under your opponent's skin, as you see in these highlights here. And versus the Orlando Magic, he was talking his ish. And look, he backed it up. And when he gets like that, Chris, I feel like he plays better. I feel like he plays freely. And, I know it sounds kind of like ridiculous, but I feel like that's the best version of Mikal, because it seems like he's comfortable. And that's all we asked for, right?
Yeah.
So
not only that, not only comfortable, but just confident,
Yeah.
You gotta be feeling yourself to go out there on the floor and just start, basically taunting other NBA players, just letting them know, hey, I'm here to play defense the way I can. I'm gonna mess things up, and I'm gonna score on the other end too and make your life a living hell. So I love what I saw from Mikal versus Orlando. That seems like it's just becoming some, one of the better rivalries, I'll say, with the Knicks. Whatever's going on with Mo Wagner and Karl Anthony Towns, and now you got Mikal Bridges getting into the mix with multiple Orlando Magic players. That's a fun. Every Orlando game coming forward is gonna be fun, man.
It is, especially like I said on the post game, add Wagner to the list of the players that we despise. You got Trae Young on top of that list, obviously. Wagner's on that list, getting in the face of Karl Anthony Towns. And just, look, he played well. He backed it up. I think Wagner had like 30 points in that game. But
32,
still.
actually.
Yeah, but still, I mean, come on now. Come on.
He did his best Karl Anthony Towns impersonation. But I will say, I wanted Wagner. That was a player I did want the Knicks to kick the tires on. He's a good player.
He is. But, add him to the list, man. Hit some of these comments. Appreciate every single one of you in here joining us for another Knicks Nation podcast. Tony says, I just want to see OG and Mikal have 25 each game. It seems like every night one of them is on and the other is off. Tony, in a perfect world, that is going to happen in a perfect world. But in the reality is you're not going to have – look, OG Anunoby, Chris, has been struggling offensively here in the month of December ever since that 40-point blow-up win in Denver. He's been struggling with his shot. But look, if you're going to get an A-plus performance on defense from OG Anunoby, offensively it'll come. I'm not concerned about it. I know he's kind of, his shot has kind of been off lately. Do you have any concerns regarding Anunoby's offense? I mean, I'm not concerned.
No, I don't. I mean, he is, don't get me wrong, he is getting some good looks. He's missing some wide open 3-point shots, And like you mentioned, ever since he hit that 40-point game, it's like he lost it. But the beauty of that is you got guys like Mikal Bridges, Karl Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson, guys there that can handle that scoring punch. So to me, I'm not worried, man. OG Anunoby, look, his calling card is elite defense. And that's something that no matter how bad his shot is, you're going to get on a night in and night out basis. So, OG's offense will come. I'm not worried at all.
Yeah, in his last 10 games, he's shooting 29% from three, 43% from the field. So he's struggling with a shot. And, players go through this, the highs and lows of the season. 15 points a game for OG Anunoby, but, he's healthy. He's out there. He's playing rock-solid defense, and that's all we can ask for. As long as OG Anunoby is on the court, sign me up for that, man, because you're going to have games where Mikal's been great offensively, Chris. He's been consistent. He's hovering around 15 to 20 points a game. Like we just went through his 3-point shot. So, yeah, Chris, as long as Anunoby is healthy, good on the court, that's a checkbox, in my opinion.
Exactly.
So
that's the key with OG Anunoby. Keep him on the floor, keep him healthy, offensive woes, so be it. Look, just keep the man healthy, keep him in bubble wrap when he's not on the floor. That's what we need.
Yuri, what's going on? OG and Mikal will be consistent as the season goes on. OG will be more consistent as the season goes on. What's going on, Yuri? Then Tony says, it seems like OG is not struggling. When he was hot, Mikal was cold. Now Mikal is hot and OG is cold. And Edwards will be next on the list. Hey, Thursday night, Cat going back to Minnesota. We'll talk about that game in a little bit. But going back to Mikal Bridges. So the Knicks' best defensive lineup with over 100-plus possessions, Chris. They are allowing 100 points per possession, a whopping 44.9% efficiency field goal percentage to their opponents. That lineup is Jalen Brunson, Miles McBride, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, and Mr. Jericho Sims in that lineup. That is the best defensive lineup over 100 points per possession. So Jericho Sims apparently is in trade rumors. We'll touch on that in a little bit, but
wow,
yeah, that's the Knicks' best defensive lineup. I don't know what you can take out of that, but you have a bigger body in Sims down low, rim protector. So,
hey,
yeah.
What I like the most about that is just Bridges and Anunoby being on that list together. Like I mentioned before, past pods we mentioned how Bridges and Anunoby are basically separated when it comes to the best defensive lineups, and now we're seeing kind of things trending in the opposite direction. So, again, look, I know we gave up a lot for Bridges, and that'll be the first thing everybody brings up. But looks, as far as things look right now, the tide is turning, in my opinion, when it comes to Bridges, his defense, and his all-around game next to OG Anunoby. So all positives for the Knicks, in my opinion. And look, they're going to get better. They're going to get better.
Life is good coming off a win. After that Hawks game, it was, a little dicey.
Brutal.
It was brutal, but
brutal.
They got a much-needed win down in Orlando. Still things to improve on. And we'll talk about the bench in a few as well. Bench needs to be improved. Think you need another wing off the bench. But their best all-around lineup, Chris, with a plus 25.1 point differential. Campaign, Miles McBride, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, and Karl Anthony Towns. So the trend you're starting to see is Mikal Bridges is in their best defensive lineup, and he is in their best all-around lineup. So although he's shooting, 22% from above the break threes, he's struggling somewhat defensively. Does he still need to improve? Yes. You're starting to see the tide turn a little bit here. And that is exactly what we wanted to see from Mr. Bridges. And that's the trend, Chris. Mikal Bridges is finally playing well. So just wanted to shine some light in this first segment talking about Mr. Bridges. And, yeah, that's all we wanted,
Absolutely.
man. That's all we wanted. That's all we wanted.
Well deserved. Well deserved. Because, look, he has been the topic amongst all basically Knicks media. It's you spent this on him. You gave up that. You're not getting anything close to what you thought. But look, it's no secret. This is a team with a lot of new pieces.
Yeah.
And while I won't say they need more time, because look, they're already hitting I believe 26 games or something around there.
It's crazy.
We were saying 25, 30 games. Look, they got to get better. Point and blank. And they're trending in that direction. So, I only expect things to get better from here on out.
Likewise. And where can they get better, Chris? So Obviously, in the losses, rebounding has been an issue for this team. Bench depth has been an issue for this team. You're seeing the warts starting to transpire here. I mean, you're, like you said, you're 26 games in, and they can improve, Chris. And one area that they can improve in is their bench, the almighty bench. You got Campaign, you got Deuce McBride, you got Precious Achiuwa. Tom Thibodeau is not expanding their rotation to 9 men. You're small off the bench, dealing with Precious. Obviously, 6'8", 6'9" is your big man off the bench. So, is this it? Are they going to make a move? What do you think? What do you think is going to happen?
I think they have to make a move. I know Mitch is, whether you want to say he's right around the corner or not, but the reality is we don't know what we're going to get from Mitch when he comes back. Usually when Mitch comes back from some sort of injury, it takes him a while to get back into form, especially gameplay, form. So I think the Knicks definitely need to make a move, whether that's a wing or just, and maybe even a big at that. But now that Jericho Sims seems to be kind of out of favor with Tibbs in a sense, we didn't even see him, I believe, versus Orlando. It makes us that much more thinner when it comes to the bench depth. So, I personally think they got to make a move. Who that is, that's another story.
I got a couple of names here for you guys that we'll pull up the graphic in a second, but some news. So Landry Shaman is back and playing with the G League, Westchester Knicks. So he was playing during his last game. Tom Thibodeau said that he watched the game and he liked what he saw, but he still has some ways to come back to be on the club, and we'll see how that transpires. Remember, before the season, Shamet was being involved in the rotation. So we'll just have to see how that transpires. And the rookie, Pacom Daddier, is, playing well in the G League, and their Knicks are calling him up, sending him back down. They're using that to their advantage. But like I said, Chris, I got a couple of names here who the Knicks, I think, would make sense off the bench. Now, this is extremely early, way too early trade talk, but you can never be too early. I mean, January is right around the corner. Then February, I think 8th is a trading deadline. That's right around the corner. So, first name I got for you guys is Dorian Finney-Smith on the Brooklyn Nets. Now, any trade that the New York Knicks make, they have to match the salaries simply because they are in the first apron. So, Dorian Finney-Smith, Nets are rebuilding. They want a tank, but they've been winning some games. That's why they traded Schroeder. They were like, hold on, we want to lose. We sent Schroeder to Golden State. Chris, Dorian Finney-Smith, cap hit $14 million, 3-and-D wing, can play defense, can hit threes. Obviously, you have to give to get. That would probably have to involve Precious Achiuwa, make the salaries match. But what do you think of Dorian Finney-Smith when you hear his name?
He's a nice player. It would hurt to lose Precious for sure. Obviously having to make the salaries match, but you kind of get a similar player as in Precious
More
that
scoring.
can kind of space the floor a bit more. So I do like that. I don't know though. Do you really think the Nets are going to make another trade with the Knicks? That'd be insane.
The reason why I bring up Dorian Finney because he's a great defender, and he's shooting 45% from three this season. So gives you another element off the bench. Look, you got to have length off the bench. He's 6'7", 31 years old, and I believe that he will be traded during the trading deadline. But yeah, your question is, do the Nets trade with the Knicks again? They're probably gonna. We just traded 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges, so they're probably going to haggle over more picks from the New York Knicks. Don't think it'll cost that much. Once again, you got to make the salary cap match because of where the Knicks are financially. But Chris, I think you plug him in off the bench. Obviously, we're waiting on Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah.
You can possibly even give up Mitch and kind of add someone else to make the money work, but then you're losing another big. Do you really want to do that? No. He has a player option for next year for $15 million. So I don't know. Something to look at, though. Something to look at.
It is interesting. I'll say that. It is interesting simply just to get that floor spacing. And like you mentioned, 45. You said 45% from three?
45% from three this year, man.
That's crazy. I mean, you do downsize a bit if you give up Precious. I think Precious is a little bit taller, but, strong defender, can shoot it. Shooting really well this year, apparently. So, yeah, man, I think that's another type of move that would help us for sure.
Tony says he's a bigger Dennis Smith Jr. than Amanda says no trades. All right, second option, Chris. Cheaper. I think it will cost pretty much, not much. You got Keon Ellis. He is 6'3", another guard. Scrappy defender, though. Gets on your nerves, pain in the butt. One-on-one defense is pretty good. On a great contract, kind of reminds me of Deuce McBride's contract. 6'3", a little bigger than Deuce. Cap hit $2.1 million from Sacramento. Sacramento is looking like they're going to blow it up. So we'll just have to see what happens. But Keon Ellis, what do you think of Keon Ellis?
I like Keon Ellis. I mean, I don't know if I would like him on the Knicks per se. We're already a small team as it is.
Yeah.
I don't think I would rather add somebody a little bit bigger, but I do like Keon Ellis' game. He's, like you said, scrappy guy, can get hot, can also shoot you out of a game, but he's a scrappy player. I just don't think I see the fit there for the Knicks with him.
Yeah,
we're undersized as it is.
Like we said, man, we're look, finding warts, early trade rumors. Because there was a report, Chris. The reason why I bring all these trades up, man, I'm not just bringing this up because I want to, but I know it's always fun talking trades, right? So the reason why I bring up these trade rumors is because this is from Stefan Bondi. Stefan Bondi says Sims has garnered some trade interest from other teams. So people see the writing on the wall, whether that's the Knicks parting ways with Jericho Sims. But if Stefan Bondi, a really respected reporter, is coming out with a story saying, some teams have garnered some interest from Jericho Sims, maybe something could be in the works. Maybe something will be in the works. Sims is going to be a name that, when as the trading deadline approaches, you obviously have to figure out if you want to give up on him. He's another, polarizing player, but whether you love him, you hate him, obviously he hasn't been playing these last couple of games, really. So this is why I bring up these trade rumors, is because this report was from Stefan Bondi that Jericho Sims has garnered some trade interest. So I don't know, Chris. Sims garnering trade interest? Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's good for Sims, man.
Yeah.
He's doing something right out there. Teams are taking notice, so that's a good thing for Sims. And look, with Mitchell Robinson, the news coming out that maybe it won't be December per se, or the end of December, but maybe some point in January, which is again right around the corner.
Yeah.
You can afford to trade a Sims or even a Precious at that point if it comes to it. So, it's no secret the Knicks need to make another move, in my opinion, especially to bolster the bench. So, those would be two likely candidates, Precious and Sims.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting, but you could be on the train that I don't want to make a move. This is the Knicks team that I want to see from here on out. Look, they're 16-10. They're third in the Eastern Conference. Believe it, they're third in the Eastern Conference. They're right in the thick of things, and we've gone through the schedule at the end of this month, heading into January. The Knicks have a lot of home games. They don't travel for a stretch of period of time. I think in the month of January, I think they don't travel. So they can get fat on some wins here. But when they lose, they get out-rebounded. They just get out-hustled. And you see the warts when they lose, really. Because when Deuce and Payne are not bringing it offensively and don't really have the juice which they've had for a majority part of the season, by the way, they struggle. They're dead last in bench scoring. And they're a slower paced team, and that really doesn't matter, in my opinion, because, the reason why they're a slower paced team is because we have Brunson, but, I mean, that works to their advantage at times. So it's just areas where there's still areas where you can improve. But like we opened up with this pod, Chris, it's good to see that the starting five, especially Mikal Bridges, has kind of gotten a target off his back, right? He's kind of gotten the target off his back. I know some fans want more, but he's kind of gotten the target off his back.
For sure. At least for the time being, Mikal Bridges, everything is good at the moment, So, again, that's what I want to see continue. And I think that's a big piece to the puzzle here with the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
And look, the news on Landry Shamet, I think that's huge. If he joins the club, that's another guy who has chemistry with Mikal Bridges, another guy who has chemistry with Campaign. I think that's all. He was playing well for us, preseason and all. So I think that's another piece where if you add that just helps the bench that much more too. Another guy who can shoot the ball and is a pretty good defender as well. So, reinforcements might be on the way soon.
Do you think that in a perfect world, do you think they stand pat? Do you think they just, like I said in the post game, I said their big acquisition can just be the return of Mitchell Robinson, and they can just be reliant on that. Mitchell Robinson's starting to post more and more. Shams kind of put cold water on that a couple of days ago that said he's likely to come back at the end of January. So we're still like pretty much 2 months away, a month and a half from our Mitchell Robinson return. But at the end of the day, Mitch comes back, returns to the player that he is when he plays, and is dominant on the offensive boards, the dominant rim protector. And you put him in with a different kind of floor general, Jalen Brunson, who's kind of finding people on lobs now, finding our Porty more on lobs. Or do you just see what's in your system? Do you just give those minutes to the rookie, Daddy and Ariel Hukporti? It's interesting.
I mean, in a perfect world, you would love to see those minutes go to a Hukporti or, Daddy A. But, I don't see that. I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
But I will say Mitchell Robinson will be a boost for sure, just because what he can provide us on the defensive side of the floor. But I'm still saying we need to make a move.
Yeah.
We still need to make a move. We're like one really good bench piece away, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, we are. And that's what I think we are. One bench piece away. And it doesn't have to be this year. We can, enjoy this season, see where it goes with this team, and it doesn't have to be this year. Like, Rome wasn't built in a day, but obviously we have the core to have a sustainable culture here. And you can kind of go into next year with fresh minds and just go from there. It doesn't have to be this year, obviously, but, right now the Knicks are playing well, Chris. We got a game here. Karl Anthony Towns going back to Minnesota. That should be fun, man. That should be extremely fun. What are you expecting from Cat's return? Is it going to be emotional? Julius Randle?
Oh, yeah.
Dante?
I mean, wait, just to backtrack a little bit, I will say I think the Knicks do have to make that trade now. Especially when you have teams, saying they have interest in Sims. If you can flip Sims for something good off your bench, and granted, I know it won't only be Sims, I think you got to do that this year. But Knicks versus Minnesota, that game is going to be.
Yeah, before we get to Minnesota. So you think? I kind of agree with you too. I think if there's a move out there, you make it, because you don't just kick the can down the road. Getting some comments here in the chat. Just Lettuce is saying we need to be patient and wait till February when we're 1,000% healthy. Look, it's in a perfect world, that's what you want to do. But, we've kind of been burned by health over these last couple of years, right? So I mean, we really haven't seen a perfect world, honestly. So depth is important in this league, and it's solely important. But yeah, get Mitch back, and we just see what happens from that. Tony says, I don't think Mitch playing the 5 will make us a better team, and I don't think Mitch will want to come off the bench. I think Mitch playing the 5 will make us better. I do. It allows Cat to be that free-floating 4 like he was in Minnesota. Obviously, you don't need to start him, but there's going to be certain lineups with Mitch and with Cat in it. And look, I'm excited to watch those lineups, but it's like the more I talk about it, it's like I just want to see it. But yeah. I don't know. Do you think he doesn't think Mitch will make us a better team at the 5?
I think he will, and you said it. You said it before I could say it, but it's not like you're going to start Mitch. And look, Mitch and iHeart were boys. You know, they had a good bond when iHeart was here with the Knicks. But I don't think it's going to be an issue as far as whether Mitch is starting or not. You know, he's coming off of an injury. You know, he's going to take time to kind of get back into the flow of things. And Cat has been playing well. You know, is he a rim protector in the way we've seen in the past with, you know, Mitch and iHeart? No, he's not. But I think there's a world where you can kind of mix and match those two and kind of get a little bit of what you saw with Cat out in Minnesota, which if you ask anybody out in Minnesota, they miss. I think it absolutely will make us better. Absolutely will make us better. And it just gives our team another dimension and another guy who can go out there and just, you know, grab boards, grab an offensive boards, catch lobs. You know, I keep saying, don't forget what Mitch did versus, you know, the Cavaliers. You know, people are quick to forget Mitch can have an impact on games.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of Cat, he's only the 4th Knicks player to have 40-plus rebounds and 40-plus points in over a 2-game span. Karl-Anthony Towns currently leads the NBA in rebounds per game, Chris. He's just ahead of Nikola Jokic. He just had a 2020 game versus Orlando. So he's dominant on the boards. Dominant on the boards. MVP candidate, top 5 in MVP, in my opinion. And look, if the Knicks continue to play well, he has a shot in winning it. He does. He does. He's playing extremely well. And when that time comes, we'll obviously talk more and more about Cat playing the 4, Mitch playing the 5. But Jabroni says the bench is deep when healthy. A 9-man rotation of the starters with Deuce, Shamet, Precious, and Mitch is solid. Payne is a 10th man. Yeah, look, it could just be that. But you always scour the market. Someone always pops up. Buyouts happen. The Knicks can't improve their bench that way. And that's what gets me excited at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, Chris, this starting 5 is elite. And you're starting to see them turn the corner here defensively. They were 22, 23 defensively. I think they're 15 defensively right now. I'll double check that in a second. But that's what gets me excited, is the starting 5 is playing well right now. And this team is playing better defensively.
And you said it right. The Knicks are currently, I believe, 15th in defensive rating. They're 3rd in offensive rating, 15th in defensive rating. Look, that's right around where we were saying we were hoping the Knicks would get to, and they're right there. And there's much room for improvement. So, you know, this team is improving. This team is improving, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and we just got to keep it rolling.
Yes, we do. Shout out to the squad. Big win in Orlando. Tough guys, man. Trying to act tough in Orlando, please. All right.
That was a tough game, man. The way it was officiated, you know, it was perfect for that football Sunday, right?
I saw, just a side note, I saw something today. I think it was Rick Bucher posted a tweet quoting the video of Jalen Suggs. You remember that play where he was just all over Jalen Brunson in the 4th quarter, and the ref finally called a foul. Jalen Suggs was arguing with the ref like that wasn't a foul. The game was over at that point. I think Jalen Suggs picked up his 6th foul. And then you have Rick Bucher saying it wasn't a foul. People love hate watch the Knicks. It is what I mean. It's honestly ridiculous, man. The man fouled him like 5 times on that play. If you don't know what
I
I'm
was just
looking
gonna
at,
say that. I was just gonna say that he picked up his 7th, his 8th, his 9th, all on that one last play. Let's be real. Jalen Suggs wanted out of that game. It just didn't happen quick enough.
yeah, it's just some of the commentary on the Knicks is baffling, especially Jalen Brunson. The man gets no respect, by the way. Yeah, Jalen Brunson. I loved the way he looked in that fourth versus Orlando. I said it during the post game. You wanted to see how they were going to respond. Our leader, our captain, did just that, and that's what you want. And credit to this Knicks team, Chris, because they haven't. I think they've only lost back-to-back games once this season, if I'm not mistaken. So when they get punched in the mouth, this team responds. This team responds. They have a bad loss. Next game, they respond. They don't carry it over, sulk. They respond. So
I think that's huge. That's another, that's another quality that from the past teams that we've had. Usually we don't get on into losing streaks. This team, for all the noise that, they lost a step or they're just not what they were. That's one thing you can hang your hat on. This team gets a bad loss, they'll come back and they'll answer right away. Whether it's against a good team or a bad team, they take care of business. So, I also love the way JB was just fired up out there. He was chirping at the Orlando Magic's bench. I loved all of that. I think that does a lot for the team. He's our captain for a reason.
yeah, the only time this Knicks team has lost back-to-back games was at Houston and at Atlanta. And that's the only time this year. So we have only lost back-to-back games one time this season. Once again, 6 games over 500 at Minnesota coming up. So that just is a credit to this Knicks team. They bounce back, and they've been consistent for the majority part of the season, and that's why they're 6 games over 500 right now. Wrench says the media loves to hate the Knicks even when we doing well. Yeah, they do. Yeah. And
absolutely.
The fact that you can say that Suggs was yeah. I don't want to be that guy, Chris. I don't. But Suggs was draped all over him and then argues that it wasn't a foul. And then I wake up today, open X, and that's literally like one of the first things I see was, how can you call that a foul? I love Suggs's aggression on this play. And I'm like, dude, that's a foul. Suggs is an amazing player, by the way. Amazing defensive player.
Yeah.
Taking nothing away from him.
No, Suggs is awesome. But at the same time, like, you can be aggressive, but when you have 5 fouls, why are you being that aggressive? You got to be smart as well. You got to have the IQ to kind of like pick your spots at that point. So, in my opinion, I think Suggs wanted out of that game. He was shooting. What was he, 4 for like 16 or something like that?
Mikal had him on lock, bro.
He was on lock. He was on lock. He was frustrated. And look, he should have been out of the game even earlier when I think he had a second or third effort on a Jalen Brunson jump shot where he poked him in the eye. The refs again didn't call anything. I mean, they called the foul, but they probably should have called a technical, in my opinion. So, yeah. I'm just starting to get used to that. This is how it is with the Knicks, right?
I hate it, man.
We don't get a lot of calls, even though at the end of the night the box score might say that foul calls were even or something like that. But it's when it comes to the Knicks, I just feel like they're letting other teams play extremely physical and calling us for ticky-tacky calls. But I am a Knicks fan, so maybe I'm a little biased, I guess.
Yeah, and yeah, that game was, look, no blood, no foul. Look, I love it. Sign me up for it. But what I'm seeing is number 11 does not get the same respect as other superstars in this league.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this right into the camera. I'm sure all of you watch Jalen Brunson play. Can he be an exaggerate at most of the times? Yeah, he can be. Yeah. But he needs to be, because they bump and grind him. Even during the playoffs, Chris, this was a problem. But that's neither here or there. But Jalen Brunson doesn't garner the respect of a true superstar. And it is what it is, man. Even we're seeing with Cat, but I don't want to turn this into like us complaining. But let's go to the Minnesota game, Chris.
I'll leave it at that.
Speaking of Cat, Karl-Anthony Towns headed back to Minnesota. Should be a great game. Obviously, Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo first regular season game where everyone's playing. Julius Randle didn't play during the preseason game when they came to New York. So I think Karl Anthony Towns he definitely should get a tribute. I think the Minnesota fans will just bask him with a hell of an ovation. He's done a lot in Minnesota for that community. I think it's going to be, one of those games where he's going to be a little bit, emotional. But it should be a good game. I'm looking forward to it. But all in all, we need a dub. So what do the Knicks have to do to get that dub in Minnesota?
Oh man, the Knicks gotta keep exactly what they've been doing, what they did against Orlando. Bring the intensity on defense.
Yeah.
And the offense. The offense will be there, ranked third in offensive rating. I'm not worried about the offense, but I am worried a little bit about Towns, man. He might get a bit emotional. I'm sure as hell they're gonna give him a tribute, and he might get choked up, might throw him off his game, but hopefully he has a monster
40,
game.
40.
I think he's gonna have a monster game, but Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. Dante already had his little spat with the Knicks earlier on, but now it's Julius Randle's turn. You think Julius is gonna come out? He's gonna want to make a point. He's gonna want to prove a point for sure. But that could go a couple different ways with Julius.
They asked OG Anunoby about guarding Randle. He said he's a tough player to guard. Randle has shooting 34% from three this year, has kind of, 11 points last game, 21 versus the Lakers, 14 versus the Warriors. Dante has really been struggling for them. I think he scored single digits but what I'm trying to get at is Dante's been struggling for them, but he's put it on the board. You heard it here first. 30 points for Dante. I'm pretty sure he's going to drop 30 off the bench.
He's going to go off. I think Julius is going to have a good game too, man. When it comes to these revenge games, Julius usually shows up. You said it, right? 21 against the Lakers. I could see him dropping 21, 25.
Tyler, what's going on in the chat? Tony says, tired of being in Minnesota. Who is guarding Cat? Towns is going to have 30 points and 30 boards. He's going to go crazy. Cat put it off 40 and going to violate Rudy. I love that. Randle has had one game over 27 points. Dante, in the last, I think, 10 games from him, he's only scored in double digits once, 11 points. But like I said, throw that all out the window. Look, we're Knicks fans, expect it. Look, how these guys operate. They get up for their, the team that traded him. They have traded him. They have some type of that's how, they go crazy in their head. They make up scenarios in their head. They're like, all right, you traded me. Like, I'm going to go off. I'm going to show you that you shouldn't have traded me. But Minnesota has been playing well defensively over their last 6 games, but a lot of that has to do with their opponents. I think they played the Lakers without LeBron, kind of iffy game there. But Minnesota is another one of those places where it's always tough to play in. Cat's comfortable there. But I think we're going to – I don't know, Chris. I'm feeling kind of a Denver Nuggets recap. That's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling the Knicks, Denver Nuggets, Phoenix Suns, one of those games from this Knicks teams. That's what I'm feeling.
I would love that. Me, I'm being a little bit more cautious, Julius Randle's revenge game against the Knicks. Hey, we saw RJ go off, right? So now it's Julius Randle's turn.
Yeah, I'm feeling a big game from the squad, and look, it's on TNT. You're gonna have obviously that aspect, but it should be a fun game. But that's just what I'm feeling, because one thing about this Knicks team is they've gotten up for these massive games. They have. Yeah. Denver, Phoenix, the Orlando game in the MSG.
That is true.
When they are locked in, they are locked in. They're tough to beat. And I think it's going to be a big game for the Knicks. So that's my prediction. That's my
I say
prediction.
the Knicks win it. I do say the Knicks win it. I still think Julius is going to have a good game. But if the Knicks defense shows up the same way they did in Orlando or even better, I think you're going to see a blowout. Maybe not a crazy blowout, maybe something like, 16, 18, I'll say. But yeah, man, that's going to be a fun game to watch.
It is. I can't wait for it. Tyler says there was a point in Dante's career after leaving SAC where he would always pop off against them because they didn't even offer him the qualifying offer. I think Dante is in line to cook us next game. Look, put it on the board, man. Look, 7 points last game, 3 points versus the Lakers, 8 points versus the Warriors. Chris, Dante DiVincenzo, he's been horrible, to say the least, for them. Terrible. And
surprisingly,
the Knicks sold high on him. It's like a stock. You sell high in the stock, you get a better play in return. And Cat, he was the throw-in for the Randall. A lot of people consider that the Dante trade. Remember when the trade happened? No, Randall's nice, but it's Dante who we really wanted. And he's been bad for them. 31% from three this season. Like, that's crazy.
The crazy thing is, I think if he stayed on the Knicks, he would be having a hell of a year still. I just again, I felt like the Knicks were just that perfect fit for him.
They were, and it's the friendship. It's a friendship bracelet. But yeah, you can market that he's gonna have a big game. I mean, he's gonna have a big game. I hope I'm wrong, but it should be a fun one. Obviously, we're pulling for a Knicks victory, but look, that trade. Look, Cat is in top 5 MVP conversation right now, and he's number 1 in rebounding. I think he's shooting like 45% from three. He's a hell of a player, Karl Anthony Towns. They're playing extremely well with him, and he's proven that the trade was well worth it. It was well worth it. So
better than I could ever imagine. I'll say that much, man. Cat has been above and beyond what I expected.
Tony says predictions. Who would be the Knicks leading scorer on the Knicks versus Timberwolves? I got Mikal going to have 34 points. Mikal and OG will be the winning factors. When first couple of games last season when we acquired OG Anunoby, I remember playing the Timberwolves. It was like one of OG's, I think it was his first game. As a Knick versus the Timberwolves. And he had the assignment on Anthony Edwards. And he did a hell of a job on Ant. And after that game, we were like, this is why you trade for OG Anunoby. So I'm sure those two, Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, are going to cycle in and out in terms of who's guarding Ant. But Ant's a great player. He's going to get his points. It's on the road. So you take that into consideration. But if this Knicks team plays an A+, not even an A+, B+ game, A game, I think it should be another win and another big win, statement win, because we've been good with those statement wins this year, like I've said. So in terms of who do you think is going off? Mikal, OG, Brunson?
I'm gonna say JB.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say JB. JB's been doing well lately. He's been putting up, points, and he's been efficient, man. I see him carrying over that fire versus Orlando right into Minnesota, So I'm sure he's going to be amped up to play also against Dante, especially how things went down the last time. So I say JB. I think our captain's going to go out there and prove a point.
Dante and Rick Brunson going at it in MSG. That's the battle we looking for.
It's all family, right? I think that's what they were saying. It's all family.
It's all fun and games, man. It should be fun. And it feels, I don't know why you feel, but like they haven't played since, Sunday? And they don't play till Thursday. It feels kind of like strange. It's like an all-star break in between, but
yeah,
you take the rest. You take it.
It's good. Look, these guys have played a lot of minutes, especially Mikal, OG Anunoby. I'm sure they're loving the rest.
Jabroni says, who do you guys have winning the cup? We talked about the cup being kind of like a blessing in disguise for the losers. You kind of get the days off. You kind of don't travel to Vegas. I saw a theory out there that the Knicks at halftime versus the Atlanta Hawks were like, look, we don't want to go to Vegas. We want the extra days off. I saw that theory floating out there. To me, I think it's crazy. But
Nah, that has to be crazy, man.
yeah, but yeah, you take the days off. But I think, look, the Cup is fun. It is what it is. But I think OKC is going to win that one. Obviously, those listening to this pod after will know the result, but I think OKC got that.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I won't lie. I'm going for OKC when it comes to the Cup, and it's halftime, and Milwaukee is up by 51-50. So that score right there is already surprising. I thought OKC was going to run away with it, to be honest with you.
Tony says game plan, make it hell for Edwards, ball pressure and protect the screens, make it hard for him to get the ball. Omar, what's going on? Says Cat is going to go off versus the Timberwolves. There's a sneaky feeling, Chris. I know Brunson's going to get his. I have a sneaky feeling that this is going to be a big Cat game because coming into the season when the Knicks traded him, he was shocked. And I think, look, despite the Randall angle, I know he's going to want to stick it to the Knicks. I think it's going to be one of those duels. And you know how Randall is when he plays Cat. He does take it personal, and he does play well versus Cat. I don't know why. Even last year, he played well versus Cat. A couple of years, he's played well versus Cat. He plays well. So it's going to be a nice duel, nice early season duel. But I think he's going to have a big game.
Yeah, I think Cat is gonna be good. I think he's gonna get emotional. Whether that affects him, we'll see. But I do think Cat will have a good game. I'm just saying, I think Julius on the other side is gonna try to match it.
Yeah, he will. He will. All right, this is highest plus minus in the month of December. Mikal Bridges plus 94. We talked about Mikal Bridges early on in the pod about him playing extremely well in the month of December. The Knicks are finally starting to get, Phoenix days, Mikal Bridges. Look, he's changed his game. He was the guy in Brooklyn, and that's kind of a hard switch to go back to the Phoenix Mikal Bridges. But, it's taken some time, 26 games in, and these past pretty much 10 games, he's played awesome for this Knicks team. And we wanted to shine some light on Mikal and just continue the great success. That's all we wanted to see. Tyler says, I wonder when they play the tribute video, I can see Cat getting too emotional over it and throwing him off. It's something I've heard, Chris. Obviously, you go back to that video where I think they got eliminated in the playoffs and Cat got emotional, blowing kisses to the crowd. And that meme you always see that meme like on X. You always see that meme. But it could throw him off. But I think he's gonna have an awesome game. But to be determined.
We'll see. We'll see.
All right, Chris. So we talked about. Let's get to some Knicks news. We talked about the return of Landry Shamet, G League. We talked about. We'll talk about this Raptors thing in a second. This is the G League. The Knicks, Westchester Knicks, clinched the 2024 G League Winter Showcase. Shout out to the squad. Jacob Toppin has actually been balling out for them. What do you think about Toppin?
You almost forget that you had a Toppin on the squad, right?
He's been balling out for the G League team. A lot of Knicks fans are like, hey, maybe give Toppin a run. But
are you surprised? We saw Daddy A before we saw some Toppin. I know he was hurt, but.
I'm not.
You think...
I'm not. I think Toppin, look, great story, but he's developing. He's developing. But I'm not. Daddy A has shown more upside than Toppin already. Daddy A is 19, and he's played awesome in the limited time that he's played.
It's true.
All right, this Raptors thing, Chris. I don't know if you want to explain it. I don't know. Yeah, just go ahead.
Oh man, this is going back a while, but this is basically where the Raptors basically hired. I think it was a coordinator from the Knicks in the past, and supposedly they used some of the Knicks or used the Knicks as footage when it came to their plays and things of that nature, and the Knicks didn't like that. So the Knicks filed a civil suit against the Raptors, and apparently it has gone absolutely nowhere. Um, and this is just basically, the Knicks and Raptors just letting the NBA know, hey, you guys are dragging your feet on this, and we don't like it.
Yeah, not sure where this is gonna go. I think their Knicks are pissed off with Adam Silver, conflict of
Yeah.
interest. Um, you know, I'm not sure where this is gonna go, but I think there's a lot of people in the Knicks front office that are upset, James Dolan included, and it's just one of these situations where we just have to wait and see what happens. Ian Begley has been all over this story, and if you're not following it, make sure you to do so. But it's a tricky subject, but obviously the Knicks are they feel like they have a case here, and a lot of people are saying that this is why we're seeing terrible refs and this and that. It's fun hearing that, but I don't think that's why.
Wrench says it in the chat. He says a scout person they hired said he showed them scouting information and strategies that the Knicks use. It's clearly not helping the Raptors, which is hilarious. But yeah, look, this is something that has been going on since before we even traded for OG Anunoby, which was, kind of shocking at the time that the Raptors and Knicks made the deal for OG Anunoby amidst all the drama that was going on with this case. So
Yeah.
look, thank you Toronto for allowing us to have OG Anunoby. Where this goes, who knows? What the Knicks are looking out of it, or I don't know, but it's news.
Oh man, obviously the scout isn't working for Toronto, man. That's hilarious, Wrench. And then Jabroni says, yeah. No matter where you look, the Knicks think they have a case. I feel like they have a case, and look, they're pissed off, and they feel like the NBA is dragging their feet on this, and we just have to wait to see what comes about that new NBA All-Star format. Chris, I think Kevin Durant came out with something today saying that he hates it. It's a mini tournament for 4 teams and 3 games. A lot of language in here. They're trying to get the stars to play with any effort in their NBA All-Star weekend. NBA All-Star game has kind of been pretty much the worst in all major sports, if you want to say that. It's just literally like Luka attempting a 3 from half court. It's literally like a dunk fest. It's fun, I guess, for the kids and for young adults, but they're trying to get this to be more competitive. I don't think it's going to happen, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's hard, right? You got to find that balance where it's not too competitive and guys end up getting hurt during
Yeah.
what should be a break. And yeah, I think that's the biggest part of it. It's supposed to be a break of sorts for these players, and I'm sure they'd rather be resting up for gearing up for the stretch run rather than putting on a show, So I don't know. I don't know if I like this new format. I'll have to see it at least
Yeah,
once,
we just
but
need to see it.
you know, having team general managers, they say here Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny Smith, Candace Parker will be GMs. I guess that's kind of interesting, but I don't know, man. That's a lot. That's a lot of changes there.
It's a lot. Cat is going to be in there. Jalen Brunson is going to be in there. That's one thing for certain. Knicks are 16-10, and they are right where they need to be. 3rd in the Eastern Conference, Chris. And your top 3 teams, Cavs, Celtics, Knicks. And coming into the season, that's pretty much what we expected. Cleveland is kind of a surprise, but guys are – look, Cat is playing amazing, and obviously Mikal Bridges is playing awesome. And Jalen Brunson, look, we go through every pod. I feel like that game versus Orlando really signified his leadership. He's a captain. This team goes as he goes, and his assist numbers are up. His scoring is up. The 3-point percentage is up. So Brunson is playing has played an incredible season thus far, and just more of what we've been seeing. Wrench says, I do miss when they actually try to win the game. That's talking about the All-Star game. Loud and clear. What's going on? What's going on? Just those of you just joining, appreciate you guys that are joining for the 91st episode of the Knicks Nation podcast. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Smash the like button. Appreciate every single one of you for giving us your time. We normally do this on every Sunday at 9 p.m., but when the Knicks play on Sundays, we carry it over to the next day or after that. But appreciate every single one of you for giving us your time. DK says they need something to prove for the players who trying to prove they are legit. Players like Cam Thomas. Yeah, that's what I tried the Rising Stars game.
Yeah.
But I don't think the All-Star thing is ever going to change. Look, it's I don't know, Chris. I don't know where they go with that.
Do you think they just eventually just scratch the All-Star game in general and just go with more skills types of things? I mean, look, even with the dunk contest, you're starting to see like what hasn't been done in the dunk contest, right?
Yeah.
Obviously they're getting creative with the skills challenge and things like that, but what more can they do at this point?
All they can do is throw money at these players. And that's the thing. They already make millions of dollars. So it's like if you have a Giannis or Jalen Brunson, I mean, they get paid millions of dollars. So I know this sounds crazy for us. It's like, what is an extra $500,000 to them? It could buy them a toy, a new car, a new Lambo, or whatever they want to use that money towards. Or if they want to, obviously donate to a great charity cause, which it would be amazing. But look, they've had this issue for years, and some people like the product, and Adam Silver hates the product. That's why he made those changes. But that's neither here nor there, Chris. All right, you ready for some trivia?
Let's do it.
Those of you just joining the chat, every week, every podcast episode, Chris and I do trivia on the New York Knicks. Chris, it's your time to
here we go. Which Knick leads the New York Knicks with the most 3-point field goals made so far this season? Is it A, OG Anunoby, B, Karl Anthony Towns, C, Jalen Brunson, or D, Mikal Bridges?
Mikal Bridges has been rock solid in the month of December, but I don't think he leads the Knicks in 3-pointers made. With the most 3-point field goals made this season. Okay, so it's not percentage. Cat is up there for sure. He is the best 3-point shooting big in the NBA. He's awesome. OG Anunoby, I think, is the lowest on this list. And Jalen Brunson is actually having a great year in terms of shooting the 3. So, the answer is C, Jalen Brunson. That's my answer.
Final answer?
Final answer.
All right, let's go through it. OG Anunoby currently has 56 made 3-point field goals this season for the Knicks. Karl Anthony Towns, 54 made threes so far this season.
OG has more than counts. Okay.
Mikal Bridges, 59 made threes so far. Jalen Brunson,
Say it.
70 made 3-point shots this season. He is number 1. Mikal's number 2. OG is actually number 3, and Karl Anthony Towns is number 4 in that order.
Let's go.
You are correct, sir. It is Jalen Brunson, the captain.
El Capitan. That's our captain. This Rover says. Tyler says D. Mikal Bridges. Tony says Towns. Rent said JB. Appreciate you guys for chiming in. But yeah, Brunson has been awesome this year, and he's taking threes and he's hitting them, and he's hitting them at a high rate. And what do you think of this? Do you think this looks like him, the bobblehead? I think it looks like him a little bit.
It's pretty good for a bobblehead. It's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
They gotta make his head bigger.
You know, I've seen some.
They gotta make his head bigger, man. He got a big head. It's too small.
Nah, man. I tell you, I gotta open up this bad boy right here and see, see what this looks like. But I think this one looks pretty good too.
Fire. Those bobbles are from Foco, by the way. We got to get Cat more threes. Look, the dude is shooting like 45% from three this year. The Jalen Brunson, Karl-Anthony Towns pick and roll is absolutely lethal, and I do think we need to get Karl-Anthony Towns more threes, get him involved.
Yeah, I think so too.
Hey yo, yeah. Pause on that, man. Pause on that. I didn't even catch that, by the way. Shout out to you in the chat. I didn't even catch that. Oh man, just having some fun, man. I love it.
No comment.
Cat shooting more threes. What's your comment on that, man?
Look, I want Cat shooting more threes, man.
Yeah,
that's something I want to see. You know, look, when he's on fire, he can single-handedly win us games. So, you know, Cat shooting threes, especially at the clip he's been shooting them, why not have more of that?
Yeah. So, big game versus Minnesota. Squad is ready. It's going to be a great win. Yes, you heard it here first. It's going to be a great win.
Spoke it into existence.
Yes, that kind of came out too, by the way. But we talked
I
about
love
some.
the
What was that?
I love the confidence.
Yeah, come on, man. Come on. We 16-10, man. We got this.
We
ain't
good.
Scared. We ain't scared. I can't believe it's a quarter of the way the season is 25% done. You know, once again, happy holidays to you and yours. This was fun. Talked about some of the rumors going on, but at the end of the day, this is a squad that we have. Mitchell Robinson, you know, is a big piece to the puzzle. Just has to be healthy. Landry Shamet, watch out for him. Daddy A, Tom Thibodeau, please play the rook, man. Right?
Just a couple minutes. Just a couple minutes.
Bro, 10 minutes. That's it.
I don't think that's too much to ask, man.
Even Huck Porty. Huck
Ooh,
Porty.
that's another reason why I think, you know, Sims could be expendable here. You know, Huck Porty has shown us some stuff. Limited minutes, obviously, but you know, he has a good rapport so far with some of the guys on the squad.
Huck Porty. He's awesome. Last pick in the second round. I've been preaching for him to play more, but appreciate every single one of you that tuned in to episode 91 of the Knicks Nation podcast. We got 9 more left until we are episode 100. This has been awesome. Once again, if you're on Apple, Spotify, give us a follow. Even those of you in the chat, please go to the audio side and give us a follow on that end as well. It really helps us out. This was fun. Got another day off after this one. This feels kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie to you, but rest up and let's go. Let's go, Knicks.
Let's go, Knicks. Bring the intensity against Minnesota.
Let's go. Happy holidays to everyone. Stay safe out there. It's crazy. It's crazy out there. But stay safe. I'm Anthony from Knicks Nation. We'll catch you guys next time.
I'm Chris.
Peace.